On the 10th day of Christmas of Christmas movies, I did the one that's family friendly. 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 And the next one's not even this one. It has Billy Bob and that chick from Gilmore Girls. But this one is a raunchy review. Spoiler warning. Oh, fuck. Wrong one. Fuck. Listener discretion is advised. This day of Christmas contains strong language, sexual themes, adult situations. Listener discretion is advised. Well, this movie I'm going to be talking about, of course, is Bad Santa. Which has, of course, Billy Bob Thornton, Tony Cox, John Ritter, R.I.P., Bernie Mac, also R.I.P., the kid from The Sandlot, and that chick from Gilmore Girls. And that's a bit of an irony right there. It's where Billy Bob Thornton is right now, of course, playing Willie, who dressed up as Santa. Well, he's actually a thug. Came out with Marcus, played by Tony Cox, as they're playing the score from the mall. It's like a heist comedy. And then, of course, we get to the kid, played by that kid from The Sandlot, crying for a, present. Well, actually, he said as his mom was in Arizona, his dad is up in the mountains, as he claimed. And then, of course, has an encounter with the kid again, and then left him. And then Willie goes to the bar and met the one from Gilmore Girls. And when he said, "I'm a shitting, drunken fucking Santa," and she wants to prove it, and then we get to the best scene, which is, of course, the sex scene. Which she said, "Fuck me, Santa, fuck 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 me, Santa." Yeah, the bartender. And she played a bartender. Yeah, and she's got a thing for Santas. And then one of the patrons came by and, of course, attacked Willie. And then here comes the kid. The kid saved Willie. And he's got no choice but be grateful for him, He's driving all the way to his grandma's house. That's the reason why he was from Arizona, because he is, of course, there for the summer. There for the holidays. Spending time with his grandma. And then, of course, taking money from Granny. And then he was drunk, and then he got some orange juice. And, of course, he's got a job. And then one of the employees, played by John Ritter, of course, was fucking a prostitute in a dressing room. But then, of course, And of course, we get to, of course, Opal, who is another prostitute. Who is, of course, another prostitute, however. While the police were, however, scattering in his hotel room. And then, of course, the kid has no choice. of course, he had no choice but to become the kid's roommate. And, of course, he invited a bartender, and then he was drunk off his ass. But when she asked him that if he likes kids, and he's like, fuck no. And then he's drunk off of his ass. And then he woke up. Yeah, after eating all the chocolate, the kid's hands are bleeding. And of course has a, kind of a, alcohol in there. And yeah, it's going to say it was going to sting. And then, of course, that was the reason why the kid's bleeding, because Willie just got the fucking, he's got the fucking calendar ripped up. Yeah. And then he had a meeting, of course, with Bernie Mac. Well, again, R.I.P. Bernie Mac, because he died in 2008, 5 years after Bad Santa. Well, 4 in the third quarter months late after Bad Santa, due to pneumonia. But, however, he was, of course, know about the dossier because of the kid's father. Yeah, just have a bit of dossier for Marcus and Willie, who, of course, have problems. Who, of course, has problems with, with teaming up with him. And then, of course, we get to the drunken scene. One with the elf, with the kids prepared for Santa. Then Willie was drunk, too drunk. And he destroyed the mules, and the kids were crying and screaming. And then, that Bernie Mac drag him away. And then, of course, he was trying to kill himself with a hose and a sauce pipe with trace carbon monoxide. Just told the kid to get the to the police. But before he does it, he noticed the black eye. He's saying, what the fuck happened to your eye? And then he beat the shit out of that bully who gave that kid the black eye. You fucking little prick. You like giving little kids black eye? Yeah, that was the best of all plays. Biet's the Carmen music piece, La Matadores, which is a piece of Carmen. And he was just taunting those kids. And then he teaches the kids self-defense. Yeah, like I say, he was teaching the kids self-defense, however. And he is, of course, and that kid, of course, was like, defending, of course, himself by kicking Marcus in the nuts. Then Marcus retaliated with a punch to the nuts, and then gave Willie a fuck you to the nuts. A fuck you punch to the nuts. Yeah, because he after said fuck you. And then, of course, he, as he's ready to clean up, and then the kid asks if he did good. Like, with the good grades. However, he is, not having a C and a B. Well, because he's drunk again. But however, yeah, he's spending time with with the bartender's girlfriend. However, the kid does have a name. Merman Thurman. Well, that's gotta be the stupidest fucking ridiculous name ever, but hey, at least the kid is funny. At least the kid's funny, to be honest. And then he, of course, got some sleigh. Of course, he got on the sleigh. Well, not really on the sleigh, but later, of course. One with the bartender and... and of course, Willie gonna have sex, but then Merman came in and asked about Christmas. Then Wiley don't know if he's gonna keep that promise about the gift for Merman. And then they were planning a heist, which is wonderful. The heist right there. But then he's able to be right back. But Marcus have double-crossed him. And he's got a gun. Well, not Willie, but he's pointing the gun at Willie. After he's, grabbing the elephant, he's like, you don't think that kid means shit? And then when he was getting, of course, driving to give that kid an elephant, but then he, of course, got shot. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6, 7, but 8 times. And maybe Willie's dead? And then we cut to the voice and the letter. Well, and gave the Thurman, of course, gave Merman the letter. And he's like, of course, well, in case you didn't notice, I've been shot, but thankfully it was not in my vital organs. Only the liver, which is already fucked up. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, because he, of course, and the police decided to drop all the charges because he was not armed. Because Willie was not armed. He was, or he was hospitalized, or he committed some crimes, but they decided to drop all the charges because he was not armed. Also gave him the shirt that says shit happens when you're fully nude. And then, of course, gave the bartender a jacuzzi. And some money. And then he told Merman not to take shit from anyone. Well, including you. Ho, 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 ho. Your pal, Santa. Yeah, and that bully came by and got the bike. And then he said, of course, does want to take the bike. But Merman ain't gonna take shit from the bully. So he punched him in the nuts. And thus ends the movie with running away on the bike. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. But next Christmas, I'll talk about Bad Santa 2. But I'm not too thrilled of the location. Fucking Chicago. Because that's it for the raunchiness review. Now we are going, of course, more family friendly with Elf. On the 11th day of Christmas that I want to see. One of the actors, one of the comedians, one from SNL. One with the legend, one with the debut. One with James Caan, one at the yada. It featured Jon Favreau. This is why he is. We got Will Ferrell. And the character names. And the character he plays name is Buddy. Alright, now we are on Elf. Now, it's no secret that I love Will Ferrell. I love his movies. Well, not Holmes and Watson, of course. I watched that, and boy, that was terrible. But however, I will say, I really enjoyed watching Will Ferrell on SNL playing Alex Trebek. Of course, A Talladega Nights, Step Brothers. But before, let's talk about Elf. Now, Elf is a Christmas movie directed by Jon Favreau, who's behind the MCU and who's behind The Mandalorian for Star Wars. You know, MCU with Iron Man. He also played Happy Hogan, who of course came out of the coma. Well, okay, that movie's been released from 6 years. 6 years ago. That was released 6 years ago. Okay, that movie don't require spoilers. Yeah, I got it on Marvel Tuesday. But if you wanted me to talk about it, everyone, yeah, it's on Spreaker right now. Or Anchor FM. Or whatever the heck you want. And we begin the movie with, of course, with the orphanage. Where we see a baby crawling in the bag, and then go to the North Pole. Of course, they got the baby on board. And then we see Will Ferrell, the adult buddy. Where he, of course, on a North Pole, was not the best toy maker. According to one of the elves, played by the actor who played Ralphie on A Christmas Story. Yeah, that's him, by the way. That's the kid who played Ralphie, and he's all grown up. The one who disagreed with Buddy, when he said, I cotton-headed Ninny McMuggins. McCotton-headed Ninny Muggins. And he disagreed on that argument, saying, you're not a cotton-headed Ninny Muggins. You'll be the best toy maker. But Buddy eavesdropped after the Jack-in-a-Box scene. Overheard that because Buddy is not the best toy maker. And then he ran away from the workshop. And then go to the restroom. And we see Bob Newhart's character, his adopted dad, and told him about his real parents. Just told him about his real parents. One played by James Caan. And Susan, who was Walter's wife, had died. Had put Buddy up for adoption because she was dying of cancer. And then, of course, running away. And we see 3 animals. The Arctic Puffin, Mr. Polar Bear, and Mr. Walrus. Well, 2 of the 3 are voiced by the director of Elf, Jon Favreau. And then we see a snowman, who recently passed away this year. Well, it kind of looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer's cousin. And then he said he's ready to go back to New York. But then, of course, we see him on when you talk about Walter, played by James Caan. The reason he don't believe in Christmas, well, the reason is he's on a nihilist. And then we hear Will Ferrell yell, "No!" Well, zoom into the nihilist. And yeah, he did not care. He did not care about that. And then, with the Nun, of course, with the children's book, and he did not care. He played a publisher who works at the Empire State Building. And then he said goodbye to the elves, goodbye to Santa, and then he waved goodbye to Mr. Walrus, Arctic Puffin, and Mr. Polar Bear. And then out of nowhere, we see Mr. Narwhal, who's also voiced by Jon Favreau. Bye, buddy. Good luck finding your dad. Bye, Mr. Narwhal. And then here he is at New York, where he meets, of course, his dad. And then he got to meet, of course, his new wife and son. Which, of course, claimed to be his half brother and his stepmom. And although he did work at the mall, and then, of course, where he meets one of the security guards. I think that's Face on Love, I think. Well, of course, I admit it. And then went to the doctor, but then also played by Jon Favreau. Well, he's not behind the mic on this one. He's actually on screen. Yeah, that was his cameo. He was also the doctor. And yes, and he did the DNA result. Buddy is his son. It's James Caan's son. However, I will say that I really enjoyed it. But although then I thought we meet Zooey Deschanel. And of course, he was getting ready for prep for Santa. And then he would go in the women's locker room, where we see Chloe. That's Zooey Deschanel's name. Taking a shower while singing "Baby, It's Cold Outside." Yeah, she's got a beautiful singing voice. Kind of like a Christina Aguilera. With a bit of Christina Aguilera. You could say she's quite a talent. And then he got, of course, busted for ripping up Santa, saying that he is not Santa. Yeah, he got arrested and then, of course, got in jail. Yeah, like I say, he got busted, of course, and it bailed him out, and then, of course, had to, give his wife some spaghetti with syrup. No, a spaghetti with syrup. It's kind of nice. And then, of course, gives his mom one, and then, of course, he was spending time with his younger bro. Well, he got really super annoyed at first, until the snowball fight, where they get hit and he's like, son of a nutcracker! And then he was throwing snowballs with one hand. And I can say it's much better than watching Jack Frost throwing it with two hands, including snow breast. Yeah, well, yeah, pun intended. But then they're starting to have fun. And then Buddy went to work with his father. And it goes down there and while plays the party that there. Well, no. Although he did, introduce Chloe to his younger brother, to his half brother. And then, of course, asking her out to dinner. And then, of course, she was really, happy, of course, Well, love to. And then, of course, at work, and then, whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. And then played You Made Me Feel So Young by Tony Bennett. And then, of course, going around New York with the skating rink. Of course, trying out the coffee with syrup. It's calling it a crap coffee. And then, of course, with the kiss, and then saying that he missed. And he was confused, and then the two locked lips. Aww. That's beautiful. Even if it's on Christmas time. That's the most beautiful thing about those. Spending time with one, going on a romantic stroll, and then kiss. And then, of course, we get to the boss. Oh, no. And then we see Peter Dinklage. Meeting with James Caan. Having a board meeting about the book. And that buddy interrupted and think Miles Morales, played by Game of Thrones Peter Dinklage. Well, pre-Game of Thrones Peter Dinklage. Saying he's an elf. Well, call him an elf, and he's like, call me elf one more time. Come on, let's hear it. He's an angry elf. Hey, yeah. And that scene was really hilarious when he was fighting. When he got in a scuffle with Buddy. Alright, after that super funny scene, here's one that is not so funny. Well, here's that scene that is not too funny. He banished Buddy from New York. Tell him to get out of his life. Never come back. And that Buddy was of course, was abandoned. And then, of course, we see there was news, and there was about Buddy, of course, and Jason realized he was being too harsh. It was his son opening up, and then, of course, we see Santa, played by Ed Asner. Worry about the Central Park Rangers. Yeah, to be honest, they kind of look like Headless Horsemen. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The horses, they look terrifying. Those are not sweet horses. Those are not dreamy horses from a prince. Those are terrifying horses like the Headless Horseman. And then Chloe got the news about Buddy. And it goes up and then singing, Santa Claus is coming to town. So the sleigh can go to the North Pole. Well, then Buddy, of course, that little boy, of course, found Santa. Because, he got a skateboard for Christmas. Because he's on the nice list. And then everybody, of course, almost. But James Caan, come on, sing. Yep, and then we end the movie. With, of course, Chloe spending time, and then she go up the North Pole along with Buddy, and they have a child together. And that ends the movie. And that was Elf. I really enjoyed that one. But now, here comes the grand finale. The 12th and final day of Christmas movies with the classics, the nostalgia, part of my childhood, stop motion, And of course, animation is, of course, Rankin Bass. And I'll be right back. On a 12th day of Christmas that I have seen, Santa Claus coming to town, a year without Santa. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Frosty the snowman. Da-da-da-da-da. Even the Brothermeister's Christmas. Little Drummer Boy, part 2. Well, let's get this over with. No, seriously, let's just get this over with. Rankin Bass. Now that is a classic Rankin Bass animation. They are most famous for their holiday specials. For stop motion, or of course, animation. Well, let's talk about some of the things I've, of course, enjoyed. Well, it's not going to be full detail episode or anything. But it is the 12th day of... It is the 12th day, after all. Let's see. Frosty the Snowman. Well, here are my top 5, of course. Of course, my top 5 animated Rankin Bass Christmas. Number 5 is I forgot what I'm gonna do. It's, of course, in my own opinion, A Year Without a Santa Claus, which is a sequel to Santa Claus Comes to Town. It's about Santa fighting a flu. It's up to Mrs. Claus to save Christmas. And Jingle and Jangle, who took the baby reindeer, who took a little baby reindeer to the town that never snows. And then you got Pope, the snow miser, and the heat miser, who two always bicker about each other. But the interesting fact, they're brothers. They're brothers. Because they're both sons of Mother Nature. And I enjoy some of the songs. Year to over Santa Claus, A Year Without Santa Claus. And of course, the one that makes you cry is I'll Have a Blue Christmas by a little girl. And that is really heart-wrenching, you know? Sorry. But my favorite of all about this is, of course, the Heat Miser, Snow Miser themes. They are instant classics. Those are the best ones ever. That's the best one ever. The Heat Miser, Snow Miser introductions. The themes, Mr. White Christmas, Mr. Snow, Mr. Icicle, Mr. Tambelow, and then you got Mr. Green Christmas, Mr. Fire, Mr. Sun. I forgot, and Mr. 101. Been a while. Alright, now we get to, of course, number 4, which is, of course, the classic Jack Frost. No, I'm not talking about the one. Not talking about the one from the bathtub scene, not the horror movie. And no, I'm not talking about the comedy with Snow Breast. I'm talking about the one with Pardon Me Pete, the groundhog. That's the actual name. And all the voices are wonderful. Well, And you even got Paul Frees, who plays the Burgermeister, who's also a voice of an ape named Ape. You know? and you got, I like the premise of it. About Jack becoming a human, trying to fall in love with falls in love with a villager girl. And then, of course, we got the dastardly villain who wants her. I kind of like that. Well, there's not much music to talk about. I got nothing against them or anything, but let's enjoy them. Well, with the number 3 out on the way. Well, I already mentioned about Santa Claus coming to town, but that's not going to be on the list. The third one is, of course, The Little Drummer Boy, which follows the actual a little boy on drums. Of course, being held to the well, and then there is some wonderful songs there, Oh, well, there's some I can't remember, but there's only like one or few. Well, one of them is, why can't the animal smile? That's a good question. Why can't the animal smile? Because they're animals. And of course, then the sheep was ran over. Now, the little lamb, and that was upsetting. But then we get to... Yes, the next one, of course, has the cast. And one of them being Paul Frees, and he's also the voice of one of the wise men. The Little Drummer Boy theme. That was the best part of all about a Christmas special. Well, I did see part 2, and that one was good too. So that one's an honorable mention. But I'm not going to include that in my list because this is not a review or anything. This is just, why do I think of those? And this is my honest opinion about Rankin Bass. And number 2 is, of course, Frosty the Snowman, which features one of the singers. In case you haven't watched the Hotels commercial, that was the voice of the narrator. He did the Frosty the Snowman theme for Rankin Bass. It's about the 4 kids, or it's about the kids, and a magician who, of course, uses his hat for magic, but it didn't work. That didn't work. And that rabbit followed the kids. Yes, and that's a rabbit there. From the magician. For the magician's hat. And then Frosty came to life with a top hat saying, "Happy birthday!" Wait, it's not my birthday. Well, at least it wasn't like one voiced by Patrick Starr. Oh wait, there is one. And yeah, that one was good. I mean, not great, but it was good. And there's other voices like June Foray, who voices Ursula from George's Jungle, Cindy Lou Who from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's for next year. That is for next year. We're going to be talking about Grinch. At the first 3 days of the next Christmas. However, it does also have Paul Frees. That's the third time I mentioned Paul Frees, as he's also a voice of Ape. Oh, and I forgot June Foray. She was also famous for Granny from Looney Tunes. Isn't that an icing on the cake? However, I'm just, he's the voice of Santa. He's the voice of the Santa Claus. The voice of Santa. Ho, 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 ho. But he'll be back someday. He'll be back. And we get to number 1. The best Rankin Bass cartoon ever is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Which is, of course, the best Christmas special. Well, I know some people don't like it because it says about harassing, of course, Hermie, the elf who wanted to be a dentist, and Rudolph because of his shiny red nose. Yeah, but this one gave us a very important lesson. It's never okay to bully, and of course, it's okay to be a misfit, you know? Yeah, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. Yeah, but then we got the abominable snowman, of course, who is a raging monstrosity. And then Herbie pulled out the golden tooth. Looks like the mountain guy's dead. And then, of course, the North Pole, what? The abominable snowman. But the abominable snowman just thank Hermie for pulling out the tooth. You know, because that's what the reason he was like that, because the tooth was hurting. But then Santa gave him bad news, because the bad news is no elves can travel. They're going to have to cancel, but as a due to the bad storm. But then Santa, of course, just asked Rudolph if he can guide his sleigh tonight under a storm, because his nose was so bright. And then, like I say, you don't need to be a perfect reindeer to travel, no? And yeah, he was on Santa Claus Comes to Town, but that's a cameo, because... And then you got Fred Astaire, of course, mentioning Rudolph. It's another story. That's for another story. Yeah, and you got Billy, of course. She voiced Rudolph for years till her death. Oh, she was a famous Rudolph. And then Santa goes up and saying, Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Well, I know I haven't included Rudolph and Frosty and Rudolph, Christmas in July, Rudolph's Shiny New Year. But these are movies, you know? But they're movies! I mean, those are not TV specials, those are movies. Those are Christmas movies. But like I say, but those are for another time. Alright guys, that's going to be about it for the 12th and final day of a Christmas movie that I review. And Rankin Bass is the best of them all. Alright guys, that's going to be about it. And I will see you guys next time. And have a happy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.